Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first in a series of four live streams, which will be hosted throughout Black History Month by your friends at the Black Leadership Committee of the Right to Life of Michigan. We're so glad you could join us tonight. And we have the great pleasure of being joined by Miss Kisha Martin. I'm sure you will not meet anyone else in life, not only like Kisha. She not only has a unique name, but a unique story. And we're here just to discuss what's going on in our communities. Our hope is that this live stream, among the others, will raise awareness in the Black community about what's going on in our communities as far as abortion is concerned, and we hope to make a positive difference in your lives as well. I'm your humble hostess, Stephanie Estes. I am so pleased to be here with you tonight and discuss these issues with you and to make you aware of the resources that you have in the Black Leadership Committee of Right to Life of Michigan. We are here for you. We invite you to visit us on our Facebook page, on the online forums. You can find us on several of the social media sites. But we encourage you, if you need to know anything about what is going on with abortion in Michigan and throughout the world, you can always contact us. We're a good resource. If you just need resources as a woman that is experiencing an unwanted pregnancy, we are an outreach for you as well. Whoever you are, no matter what stage or what side of this issue that you are on, we are here for you. And we're just delighted to be here tonight. Of course, I am happy to be here with Miss Kisha Martin. And I hope you'll take this time to introduce yourself to our wonderful audience.
Thank you, Stephanie. My name is Kisha Martin, and I always stress it's Kisha, not Keisha. Um, I am the proud mother of a daughter that is so beautiful and has been such a blessing to my life. Um, I'm currently a master's student. I'm preparing to graduate in May with an MBA in management with a minor in entrepreneurship and innovation. And I am the director of Image Clear Ultrasound Detroit. And that is where we go to different communities and we offer free pregnancy tests and ultrasounds, as well as different resources for women. For example, post abortive counseling resources, baby items, um, just different resources to help them to feel, that they are not in this alone during this process.
Absolutely. Well, I think you are a tremendous defender of the human right to life. I certainly am a fan of yours because of your hands on approach. You're actually doing something about this issue. So many times, people who are fighting for the right to life are accused of not really caring enough about the issues facing women in this situation and really not doing enough. But
Mhm.
hopefully, we can address some of those issues tonight and make people aware of you just have a variety of resources out there. Not only that, which you absolutely do represent, but we have several other resources, several other organizations that are constantly reaching out to women in need,
Yeah.
uh, no matter where they are in the stage of this issue. We're
Mhm.
here for them. So, very glad to have you in the fight. Kisha.
Thank
It is a
you.
wonderful,
Thank you.
wonderful thing.
I'm very
Um,
honored to be here. Trust me.
oh, wonderful.
Mhm.
I am especially glad to be here because I observed years ago that this was I read a statistic about the amount of abortions that were going on in the United States.
Mhm.
And it really made it crystal clear to me that there was not enough attention to this being paid to it in the Black community, because there was a significant portion of the abortions being done in the Black community when we're only a fraction of the overall population in the nation.
Yeah.
So that forced me to have to go back and find out what was really going on in our communities.
Mhm.
Of course, when I began my search, I started looking around me, and I ran into my research into Margaret Sanger, the
Oh, good.
founder of Planned Parenthood, of course, the grandmother of this whole movement in the United States. And it was just amazing to see that it was always the plan to come target the Black community from its
Yes.
inception. The whole system of eugenics, which was meant to weed out those lesser ethnicities among us,
Yeah.
chiefly that in the Black community, was the underlying catalyst for an organization like Planned Parenthood. And I don't think it's any mistake that they have strategically planted their clinics in those poorer ethnic communities around the United States. Have you found that to be the case as well?
I have, and I do have some statistics here, but I do first want to let the audience know, why I am pro-life. Why am I so passionate about what it is that I'm doing and so bold and so courageous in doing it is simply because I realized that I was ignorant, um, and that I was doing something selfish when I had an unplanned pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
And when I say that, I was ignorant to the fact that I was actually committing murder.
Mm,
I was actually being selfish. You never think about your selfishness unless you take a real deep, you know, inside look at yourself and you
that's
realize,
true.
oh, that was pretty selfish of
That's
me.
true.
And you try to get over that. But I didn't consider it. And I believe the hype of abortion. I believe what they said. It's your choice, it's your body.
Right.
You can do whatever you want to do. It's your choice at the end of the day. And
Right.
what they were really saying to me was that you have the choice to murder that baby that you did not plan for.
Wow.
You have the choice to kill a life, and you don't have to think about it anymore. You go on with your life. And
Sure.
that is where I was ignorant in that aspect. And so that's why I try to educate people, especially black women and black men, because
Right.
they're suffering as well. But with you talking about those statistics, um you know one of the things that I reminded of, especially tonight, because I am right now, Stephanie, quarantining because I tested positive for COVID. And
Okay.
so I said, the enemy, this was planned a month and a half ago, and
Right.
a week before it's time, I get this test. And even right now, I'm a little hot, but it doesn't matter because that could very well be something else.
Right. Right.
But I'm reminded of a scripture, and you can possibly look it up. But it's in Acts 5:38-39, and it's talking about the work. If it's man's work, it's going to fall through. But if it's God's work, it's going to go forward.
Sure.
And so even with me being ignorant and being selfish and only thinking about myself and only believing what someone told me. I can't say I was bamboozled because I
Right.
really didn't know the other side. It was
Okay.
always, you can get an abortion, you can handle it. You don't
Wow.
have to go through with this and move on with your life. No one ever said, hey, you could keep this baby and you could put it up for adoption, or
Right.
you can give it to someone in your family. No one ever said that. So I only knew
Really?
one. one side of the coin. And so
Really?
that's, I really feel like people don't know the other side of the coin. That is the all time situation. That is the answer. I can get rid of it. I don't have to think about it. No one will know about it. But with those statistics that you said, since 1973, and that's when abortion became legalized, there have been 20 million Black women who have aborted their children. And this is coming from the CDC. These
Right,
are
right.
statistics that are available for
Wow.
the audience. And you know, it's so sad because if we think about those women that got rid of their children, think of how many other people that we would
Correct,
have that gap.
correct,
That's one
right.
third
That
of
is one
our
third.
population
That's right.
that is gone,
That's right.
and who knows, even with myself, that could have been the cure for coronavirus, you
Sure,
know,
sure. Absolutely.
before we even get to it, it's just so many different things that we've gotten rid of, and you know 28 abortion clinics in Michigan, in Detroit, in the metro area. That is startling.
Yes,
It
it
is
is.
really is, and it's not an accident. It's not an accident. It's
Right.
strategic.
Yeah.
It's strategic. They strategically plant these.
But you
Um,
bring up a very good point. What I love about what you said is that you brought it way back to personal responsibility.
yeah,
No matter how strategically these clinics are being placed, no matter how much legislation is being passed to
yeah,
make this more taxpayer funded and make it more available to our children, something has happened in the Black community specifically
yeah,
to make this palatable to us. I remember not too long ago, as a community, we were fighting for every Black life. Every Black life was most precious to us. And when you gave just a minute ago, when you said nobody even gave you another alternative for life, the
right,
only alternative that you were given in your own community was death.
yeah,
I'm trying to figure out what has happened in our community because I'm like, I know Kisha went to church. I know
I
she was
did.
around older people at some point. I
I
know she
was.
got I know she got other women that came through civil rights that she interacted with. She that know of another time
Hmm.
when we valued life and treasured it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out what happened. What do you think happened in the Black community where now we don't see it as selfishness. We don't even approach it from that perspective. We are ready
Hmm.
to point fingers at everyone else and
Yeah,
look at all the oppressiveness on our communities, but we don't take any responsibility for, like you said, for murder. We're
yeah.
not owning up to that's what this is.
That's what this is.
So
It's
what
murder.
what happened? What happened in our communities? What do you think it was?
So for one, I think that even with when we go back to Margaret Sanger, right?
Mm-hmm.
She actually made, you know this woman had a plan, and
Yes, she
and
did.
and she went through with it. And the beginning of it was for us to definitely, she said, and I quote, "The minister's work is also important, and also he should be trained, perhaps by the Federation, as to our ideals and the goal that we hope to reach. We do not want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And the minister is the man who
Mm-hmm.
can strengthen and straighten out that idea
Right.
if it occurs to any of their more rebellious members." So this strategy was to start with the pastor, right? Because
Mhm.
how many of us went to church?
That's
You know,
right.
like you said, I did. I went to church. You know,
Right.
I did everything in church.
Hmm.
But you know, you get around your peers, and sometimes we can get weak in our faith and not be bold enough to stand up and say, "Hey, no, that's not what I learned in church." You
Right.
know, that's not what I learned. But the pastors dropped the ball and said, "This isn't something we're going to talk about. We're not going to touch
True.
this. This is a slippery slope."
It's true.
However, going back to Acts, that is your job. That is something that the minister, the pastors, the priests, the preachers, all the
Right.
teachers, they were supposed to be instilling that versus them having and now they have school-based clinics, right?
Right.
They have these clinics that are, they're not abortion clinics,
Hmm.
but they are clinics that are in the school. And from what the website from School Community Health Alliance of Michigan says, they're located in areas where families are economically disadvantaged
Right.
and struggle to access medical services.
Right.
So now you have the school joining in on the making abortion as part of the answer for the solution, right, to
Hmm.
teen pregnancy. So
Right.
now you have the school in it, the churches in it, and then you get to the parents. You know, we have less two parent households now. We don't
Sure.
have a strong family structure anymore. It's just
Right.
not there. And as far as you know, the women go, especially if we are being promiscuous and we are not practicing um you know sexual integrity, then that means that we are not actually knowing our worth. And so I think that that's part of it. So the website that I was mentioning about the school-based clinics, that is actually on the School Community Health Alliance of Michigan, which is you can find that on the Right to Life website. But I
Right.
think that that's pretty much where we're dropping the ball at is with church and in school and all of these things
Right.
is just promoting death.
Right.
You know, no alternatives, and I think that that is part of the disconnect. So while I was praying before this, I was saying, okay, I know she's probably going to ask me a question like this. So I did write down some things, and I said that the disconnect and the plot to break up families is where the breakdown begins,
Oh
right?
wow.
So
Wow.
there are three disconnects that I have, and I said losing or not sticking to the biblical or religious beliefs. That's a concern and a factor that has played a part in the high rate of abortion in African American communities. You
Yes.
know, it's
Yeah.
like you don't have to go to church when you get 14, but you know, mom and dad is still going to church, but the child is allowed to stay home.
Right.
And then you have this syndrome that I call the walk in the dark. I trust what you are feeding me syndrome. You know, they're giving this alliance, and we're so strong to hang on to these political parties and other organizations that appear to be all about the lives of blacks in general.
Okay.
You know, it's a disconnect because these caveats contribute to the destruction of black life
Yes, they
and to black communities in general. And finally, I think that people just are not educated on the psychological consequences, being not educated on abortion, on the physical, emotional, and psychological problems that result from past abortions. And I'm not saying that everyone experiences that, but
do.
these are part of the statistics.
Right.
And there are so many men and women that are walking around wounded
Yeah.
from abortion, and these wounds are endured by the whole extended family, right?
Right.
It was my mother, my father, my cousins,
Sure.
my aunt, my uncles, and that's a family member that is gone. Or
Right.
maybe they didn't even know about that family member. And so it's
Absolutely.
this deep, deep, dark secret, right? We're
Absolutely.
eating everything that they're feeding us, but we're doing it with our eyes closed. Like I think that tastes like macaroni and cheese, but really it's cauliflower
Right.
cheese, you
Right.
know. So,
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely. Yeah, but these
yeah.
secrets are the kind that are destroying us from within
Yes,
as
yes,
a community. Like you said, abortion is one of those things. If the statistics are right, then there are a good portion of people that are going to church that are doing abortion as well. So there
yes,
seems to be some direct disconnect between the Christianity that is
yes,
being preached in the Black community
yes,
and the morality that we justify abortion with. I think it's one of those open secrets because we
yes,
know statistically, like you said, the church is one of those institutions in the Black community everybody goes to. Everybody
yes,
visits at one time or another, or you know somebody who does. There is going
yes,
to be some interaction at some point with the church in the Black community. It's just no getting around it.
that's right.
And you know it's evident in a place like Detroit because if we don't have a lot of anything else, we have a lot of churches.
We have a lot of churches,
We got a lot of
a lot of
churches.
liquor stores,
Yes, we do. And hair
and
shop.
abortion clinics.
That's right. So you can tell where our priorities are by
Right.
just looking around our communities.
Yes,
And so this has to be an open secret, but this type of secret is killing us. Like you said, on the inside, there are a lot of
yes,
wounded, guilt laden people that are
yes,
walking around because it's not just as simple as you killing a child and think you're
yes.
just going to walk away from that. That is
That's
not
right.
realistic.
That's
So
not
even though
realistic.
you might have bought the lie that this was no
That's
big deal, that's not
right.
how the human conscience works.
That's
It
right.
still impacts you. And then it
Yes.
has a cycle to it. You know, you speak of the enemy, but I notice, I remember something my grandmother said, which is, don't give the enemy a stick to beat you with.
Oh my goodness. That's
And abortion is one of those sticks
oh my gosh.
that he will beat you with
It
if you
has
give it to
spikes
him.
on it. Listen, it has
Right.
spikes and in the
Yeah,
hollow hole. So when it comes back, it sucks your skin out and
that's
it's
right.
horrible
That's right. It's
because you
horrible.
know, before I was called to do this type of work because I clearly was called because I never even imagined that I would be the one speaking about this so openly
Right.
because you know it was something I had to do and get over with my life and all of this type of thing.
Right.
But because I wanted to do more, because we were not put here to just win for ourselves. We are
Absolutely.
here to help
My
others.
God.
And it doesn't even have to get to it being a religiosity type
Sure.
thing, right? We are
Sure.
supposed to help each other. What happened
Absolutely.
to a good neighbor? What happened
Right.
to, you know, I help you get up so that you can
Absolutely.
walk, you know, teach
Absolutely.
you how to fish so that I don't have to keep giving you fish. You get your
Right.
own fish, you
Right.
know, and so that is what I'm trying to do. And I had to go through a healing process and I never even knew. This is where you know that the education is not there because even
Right.
though there are so many of these women, right? We said 20 million women that
Yes.
have had abortions. How many of those 20 million have had post abortive counseling,
Yeah.
have had post abortive, you know, to feel that, okay, I did make that mistake, but
Right.
I've been forgiven so I can move on. And guess what? I went through hell about this. Then
Sure.
so I'm going to help someone else not to go through that. You know,
Absolutely.
but everyone has taken this, you know, it's not my business type of thing, but they're constantly putting their all their business on social media, right? Everyone that doesn't want to
Sure.
be, you know, stay out of my business, but I'm putting all my business out, right?
Sure.
So I'm just trying to assist in that and bring that gap in. And one of the
Okay.
places one of the resources that we give out, especially when women come on the unit, we ask them, have they ever had an abortion? And
Okay.
we ask that simply because we want to care for them. We want to love on them. We
Absolutely.
want them to know that, yes, you made that mistake, but you don't have to do it again, A. And B, you have been forgiven. And C, there is a group that is available for you so that you can go to these groups and you can talk about your hurt, you can talk
Yeah.
about your pain, you can talk about your suicidal thoughts, you can talk
Yeah.
about how you constantly think about your baby, how
Yeah.
every time the date that you had your abortion on, you think about, oh, that's the day I did that.
Okay.
Or how about when things start happening in your life that are so negative that you go right back to that. If I wouldn't have done that, then
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
would be
That's
happening to
right.
me.
That's right.
There's not a correlation there. The
Yeah.
only thing is the self torment,
Yes.
the unforgiveness, and
Yes.
so healing hearts, is a ministry that help women. They help them to walk through it. They help them to heal. They help them
Good.
to acknowledge your baby.
Yeah.
And the thing is that it's not only about that intentional termination, right? A
Right.
loss of a child is a loss of a child, is the
Yeah.
loss of a life. So even if you had a miscarriage, even if you had a stillbirth, even
Yes.
if you had an abortion,
Right.
they will help you.
Yeah.
Rachel's Vineyard is another resource where the women go on retreats and they actually talk about this and they feel safe.
Okay.
One of the things that I went through was the shame, the guilt that I experienced because no one knew what it was that I did. And so this is something that I'm going through
Oh wow.
all along
Oh boy.
outside of the dad, right? Or even now you have the dad. Let's talk about the dad,
Yeah.
right? That
Wow.
didn't want me to do that,
Of
that
course.
didn't want me to, because I did not make that baby by myself. I am not
Of
married,
right.
right? I
That's
did
right.
not make that baby by
That's right.
myself. And
That's
so
right.
we take it upon ourselves. And I said, I'm not doing this. This is it. I'm not doing it. And I gave all the reasons why I really shouldn't have lied down in the first place.
Right.
you know,
Right.
you're
Right.
going to be irresponsible. You're not going to be a good dad. You're this, you're that. But I still lied down and
That's
made
right.
this safety,
That's right.
right?
That's
And
right.
so the dad, he really went through a lot of psychological consequences as well. And,
Of
and
course.
and after my healing, after my post abortive um sessions in small group
Yeah.
and learning that God forgave me, that it was me that wasn't really allowing the forgiveness that God
Yeah.
had for me. I realized that this man was going crazy because he wanted his baby.
Oh wow.
He wanted his
Wow.
child. And
Wow.
even with him telling me that, it didn't mean anything to me. I was just being
My.
selfish. It
Yeah.
was a selfish, dark part in my life. And if I had talked to someone and
Right.
they were able to say, okay, let's breathe and
Mm-hmm.
let's think about this,
Yeah.
because there are other options, then I probably would have even signed the rights over to him.
Okay.
That was his child as well. And so I really just wanted to hit home with the fact that there are resources for women that have had abortions
Right.
that feel like they are damaged goods and
All
nothing
right.
good can comfort them.
Right. Now,
So.
I want to get your opinion on something. I remember years ago coming across someone that ran a mobile unit like you did.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing she said that she needed at the time was she had the physical resources to offer the women as
Mm-hmm.
far as support, all the diapers, all the clothes, even housing,
Mhm,
everything. But the one
mhm,
component that she lacked was the spiritual component. She saw that these women needed like a family, a spiritual family to gather around these women, to pray
Mm-hmm.
for them, just to check in on them every once in a while, maybe to have something just to show love and the support from the spiritual side.
Yes.
So she had asked me to like try to find like different churches that she could
Mm,
recommend
yes.
these women to in the particular neighborhoods that she was stopping in.
Mm, mm-hmm.
And what she found was she was getting actual pushback from some
Wow.
of those churches because they looked at it as if, number one, they couldn't afford it. And number two, like you said, it really wasn't their business to sort of, they saw it as getting involved in somebody's personal choices.
Wow.
And I want to know, like something you touched on, fundamentally, what happens inside of a woman when she's faced with this choice? Like you said, we've completely eliminated the father from this, the spiritual aspect of this. We've made this into sort of a gray area when it, like you said, it's a matter of life and death. What has to happen inside of women where we bring the Black community back to that basic tenet that we have to care, like you said, to care for somebody beyond ourselves, but that should start primarily
Yeah.
with the gift of life. That's the badge of honor for every woman, the
Yes.
ability to carry life.
Yes.
What needs to happen in the lives of Black women that you think that we can do differently to sort of reignite that? I see it as something spiritual that needs to happen,
Yes.
but what do you think we can do to sort of reach out to women and sort of reignite that fierceness that a woman is supposed to have to protect life,
Yes.
to protect her children? Women used to choose to give up their lives
Yes.
for the sake of their children.
Yes.
Like if you had the instances, you know how people bring about the rare instances where a woman's life is threatened if she goes through the pregnancy.
Ugh.
Women used to say, well, I would rather die
And let my baby live.
and have my child live.
That's right.
That's what the normal
Yes.
response you would
Yes.
expect from a woman. But now somehow we got it so twisted where, like you said, it's about us. It's
Yes.
about our convenience. It's about our choices, how this
Yes.
is going to affect my future. I don't have to be worried about the man. I don't want to be involved with him. Like you said, we
Right.
laid down with him, but
That's
now all
right.
of a sudden, we just don't want to be bothered. What has to happen inside the heart of women, especially Black women?
So, I really, really believe that they have to feel like they are not being judged and
Okay.
being condemned, because you could be in church and you just a babe in Christ
Right.
and you're coming in, you're a babe in Christ, you don't know any better until you grow. We have to grow, and we have to meet these women where they are, and we have
Okay.
to introduce them and let them know that their sins are forgiven. And that's one thing that we do on the unit. We don't advertise and broadcast that it's religious, you know, all of that. The bottom line is that we want to introduce them to having a relationship with Christ. And
Okay.
so we let them know that we have prayed for you before you came here. This, do you think you just walked in? You think we were just here just by happenstance? We prayed. We move by the Spirit. We
Right.
we are here. We love you. We care about you, and we want to know why.
Mm.
Why is it that you're feeling that you have to do this?
Okay.
What is it that's making you feel like this? And a lot of times it's housing. I just have too many children already and I just can't afford to feed another mouth. Well, that's okay, because there are resources
Yeah.
available for you. And guess what? Adoption is not the same like it used to be. You
Right.
know, you would have a baby, and 30 years later, you run into them at the store, and it's like, wait, you know, you're looking all over. We have the internet. There is open adoption available. Bethany Christian Services is you know, an organization that we use. But there are so many other
There are
adoptive
options.
agencies. There are women out here that cannot have children
Yeah.
with affluent families
Yeah.
that would love to take this child that you just want to just throw away
Sure.
when someone can take care of them and you can still watch this child
Yeah.
grow up. So
Yeah.
I think that it really has to start with the inner person, right?
Yeah.
We have to get to the heart of what's going on.
Yes.
And sometimes it can be a childhood trauma, right? That just
Yeah.
caused them to be disconnected from everything. And so
Yeah.
they become callous, you
Yeah.
know, but prayer works and prayer does change things and prayer changes people and it's a real thing, you
Yeah.
know. I think that they have to get more about God's business, about the future, you know,
Right.
future, not right now, because
Yeah.
yes, it does look bleak, it
Yes.
does look bleak right now. It does look like I'm not going to be able to make it, but you can because here I am. I mean, I am being requested to speak at places I would have never thought that I would be invited to come and
Sure.
tell my story,
Right.
you know, and share this. And I think that, you know, it wasn't a relatable piece there. You know, there's so many people that are involved in pro life that love pro life, but they've never experienced what they're fighting for. They've
Sure.
never experienced the decision to have a termination.
Okay.
And so God has placed me here and I'm ready. I'm not afraid. And you know, I think that we have to meet them where they are and be
Absolutely.
relatable, but we have to practice tough love, you know, for sure, because we don't want to coddle them, but we want to teach them how to be strong, how
Okay.
to gain strength, you
Absolutely.
know. And where does that come from? You have to read your word. We're back to the feed me what you want to feed me, you
Yeah.
know,
That's right.
syndrome, because
That's
I
right.
don't know what this is, but I'm going to eat it because I don't have to go and cook it myself. I'm going to eat it because you're giving it to me, but I need to do my own research, you know, and people aren't doing that. And um I think meeting them where they are and being relatable and not condemning them and not judging them,
Right.
and definitely letting them know that there is resources available for them. And the bottom line is really helping them to get a relationship with Christ, because that is
Okay.
that's a big piece
That is very.
that it is missing.
I agree. I agree. Wholeheartedly agree. And that's what we're here to drive home, that there is always hope.
Yes,
There are always alternatives.
yes,
There are other options available for anybody who has to wrestle with this decision.
yes,
And I think as a Black community, that's what we're here to raise awareness about, that we don't have to go down the path of death that
right,
we've chosen as a community in all its forms. And
yes,
it starts with us looking inside, like you said, at the heart,
yes.
on the inside of us individually, and taking responsibility for the decisions that we make
That's right.
that are leading to the abortions, that are leading to the death and the single parenthood. It has to start on an individual basis.
Yes,
And we have to start reaching out to each other.
yes, yes.
Kisha, I really appreciate you having this
Right.
discussion with me tonight. It
Thank
has been
you.
an
Thank you.
absolute pleasure. I
Thank you.
hope God continues to bless you in all your work.
Thank you.
And of course, we just invite the audience. You're welcome to come to the resources that we have online. Of course, visit the Right to Life of Michigan resource online. We have a Facebook page for the Black Leadership Committee that you're always welcome to reach out to us on. And we're here to answer your questions and get you any resource information that you need. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so
And Kisha, again, thank you so much for your sacrifice and your work. All
Thank you
right.
so much. I do want to say though to your audience that either you're pro life or you're pro death, and then it's no in between. It's absolutely no gray area. Either
Absolutely.
you're for life or you're for death, and
Wow.
that's what it is.
It is. It
That's
is.
the
It
bottom
is that
line.
simple. It is that simple. And like
Yeah.
he said, I put before you death and life. And he's so gracious, he even gave us the answer. He said,
Yes.
choose life.
Yes. Yes.
He knows how slow we are. So he said,
Yeah.
choose life.
Yes.
That is the right choice. So
Amen.
we're hoping that you will make that choice today. It is the courageous choice, but it is the only right choice.
Yes.
Thank you again for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you,
This was great.
Kisha.
You're
God
welcome.
bless you. God
God
bless
bless
you
you too.
all.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, darling. It really has. I think